Picture this. The scorching sun is beating down on a lonely gas station in the middle of absolute nowhere. You're walking back to the truck, holding the energy drink your husband begged you to grab, smiling, thinking it's just another normal day. Then the engine revs. The truck inches forward. You laugh at first, because this is just another one of his stupid pranks, right? But it keeps moving. Faster. His best friends lean out the windows, phones up, filming you, laughing hysterically as you start running after them, waving your arms, screaming his name. The truck speeds up, dust flying, until it's just a tiny speck disappearing down an endless highway. You're left standing there, alone. No phone signal, no wallet, no one around for miles. And the last text you get from him before your battery dies? It's just a prank, babe. Relax. We'll be back in a couple hours. But hours turn into night, and he never comes back. What would you do in that moment? Wait like a good wife, or finally see the truth that this wasn't love, this was something much darker? This is the chilling true story of one woman's terrifying abandonment, her secret disappearance, and the heart-stopping moment 5 years later when her husband finally found her and froze at who was standing protectively behind her. If you're ready for betrayal, unbreakable strength, and the sweetest karma you've ever heard, hit that like button right now to let me know, share this with someone who needs this story today, and subscribe to the Spoken Pen with notifications on, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. And quick, drop a comment below telling me which part of the world you're listening from right now. Are you in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, or somewhere else? I read every single one. Now, let's get into the story. I still remember the heat of that summer day like it was yesterday. The sun beat down on the cracked asphalt of the gas station parking lot, turning the air into a shimmering haze. I had just stepped out of the dusty convenience store, holding a cold energy drink in one hand and a bag of snacks in the other. My husband, Ryan, had complained about being too tired to go inside himself, flashing that charming smile that always made me cave. "Babe, please?" "You're the best," he'd said, leaning back in the driver's seat of his pickup truck. So I went. It was a small thing, really. Just another way I tried to keep the peace in our 5-year marriage. As I walked toward the truck, I saw his 2 best friends, Tyler and Jake, grinning from the back seat. Ryan was behind the wheel, laughing at something on his phone. I waved, expecting him to pop the locks so I could climb in. Instead, the engine roared to life. The truck lurched forward a few feet, then stopped. They all burst out laughing. "Very funny, guys," I called out, rolling my eyes as I approached again. But then the truck rolled forward once more. This time farther. 10 feet. 20. I picked up my pace, confused but still smiling, because this was just how they were. Ryan and his buddies loved pulling stupid pranks. Fake spiders in my purse, swapping the salt and sugar, hiding my keys before work. It was always just a joke, and I was always supposed to laugh it off. The truck kept moving. "Ryan!" I shouted, my voice sharper now. "Stop messing around." He didn't stop. The truck turned onto the empty highway, tires kicking up gravel. Tyler hung out the window, phone in hand, filming me as I stood there frozen. Jake was howling with laughter beside him. Ryan glanced in the rearview mirror, gave me a thumbs up, and accelerated. They were gone. Just like that. The laughter echoed in my ears long after the dust settled. I stood in the middle of that desolate parking lot, clutching the energy drink he'd asked for, watching the truck disappear down the endless stretch of road. This gas station was in the middle of nowhere, rural highway, no towns for miles in either direction. One rusty pump, a flickering neon sign, and a clerk inside who barely spoke English. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was still a joke. They'd turn around any second. They had to. I waited. 5 minutes turned into 15. 15 turned into 30. The sun scorched my shoulders through my thin tank top. I sat on the curb, trying to stay calm. My phone buzzed in my pocket, finally a signal. One text from Ryan. "Relax, babe. Just a prank. We'll circle back in an hour or two. Love you." An hour or two. I stared at the screen until it went black. My battery was at 8%. No charger. My wallet was in the truck. I'd left it in the center console when I ran inside. I had nothing but the clothes on my back, a warm energy drink, and a bag of chips. I walked back into the store. The clerk, an older man with tired eyes, looked up from his newspaper. "My husband, he left me here." As a joke, I said, my voice trembling despite my effort to sound casual. He shrugged. "They come back, maybe." Maybe. I went back outside and waited another hour. The heat was brutal. My mouth was dry. Every car that passed slowed down just enough to make me hope, then sped away. I waved at a semi-truck, but the driver didn't even glance over. 2 hours passed. Then 3. No truck. No Ryan. No call. My phone died completely. That's when the fear really set in. Not just fear of being stranded, but something deeper. A cold realization that settled in my chest like ice. This wasn't funny. This was cruel. And Ryan, the man I'd loved since college, the man I'd built a life with, thought it was hilarious. I thought about all the times I'd defended him. To my friends who said his pranks were mean. To my mom who worried I was losing myself in the marriage. To myself, in the quiet moments when I wondered why I always felt so small around him and his friends. I'd always told myself it was just his way of showing affection. Boys being boys. That he loved me deep down. But deep down didn't leave his wife stranded in the desert with no phone, no money, and no way home. I don't know how long I sat there before I decided I wasn't waiting anymore. A dusty sedan pulled up to the pump, an older woman with kind eyes and a toddler in the back seat. She noticed me sitting on the curb, looking lost. "You okay, honey?" she asked as she filled her tank. I swallowed hard. My ride left me here. As a prank. "Could you possibly give me a lift to the nearest town?" Her eyes softened. She didn't hesitate. "Of course. Get in." Her name was Carla. She was driving to visit her sister 3 hours north. She didn't ask too many questions, just handed me a bottle of water and turned up the AC. The little boy in the back offered me his teddy bear when he saw I was shaking. I didn't cry. Not then. But as we drove away from that gas station, watching it shrink in the side mirror, something inside me broke open. Not in despair, but in clarity. I wasn't going back. Not to Ryan. Not to the life where my feelings were punchlines. Carla dropped me at a bus station in a small city. She pressed $20 into my hand and told me to call if I needed anything. I thanked her with tears in my eyes, promising myself I'd pay that kindness forward someday. The bus station was quiet. I used the payphone to call the one person I knew wouldn't judge me, my Aunt Claire. She was my dad's sister, the one family member who'd always seen through Ryan's charm. We hadn't spoken much since the wedding, but she answered on the second ring. "Claire, it's Emily," I said, voice barely above a whisper. "Emily? Sweetheart, what's wrong?" "I left Ryan. I need somewhere to go. Can I come to you?" There was no hesitation. "You come home, baby. Right now." I bought a one-way ticket with the money Carla gave me and a little cash I found in my jeans pocket. As the bus pulled out that night, I stared out the window at the dark highway rushing by. I was leaving everything behind. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Aunt Claire lived in a small coastal town in Northern California, far enough from our old life in Arizona that I felt safe. Her house was a weathered blue cottage just blocks from the ocean, with wind chimes on the porch and wildflowers growing along the fence. She met me at the bus stop at dawn. She looked older than I remembered, gray streaks in her dark hair, deeper lines around her eyes, but her hug was fierce and warm. "You don't have to explain anything right now," she said as she led me to her old Jeep. "You're here. You're safe. That's enough." I slept for nearly 2 days straight. When I finally woke up, really woke up, I found Aunt Claire in the kitchen making coffee. She slid a plate of pancakes in front of me without a word. "I need to start over," I said quietly. "Completely." She nodded. "Then we'll do that." The first thing we did was change my name legally, eventually, but for now, practically. I started going by my middle name, Grace, and took my grandmother's maiden name, Harper. Grace Harper. It felt like slipping into a new skin, one that hadn't been bruised by years of being someone else's punchline. Aunt Claire knew the owner of a local cafe, the Seabreeze. They needed a morning server. I started the next week. Cash tips, no questions asked about my past. I wore my hair differently, cut it shorter, let the natural waves come back. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't post on social media. I disappeared. The work was hard, early mornings, sore feet, endless coffee refills, but it was honest. The regulars were kind. The ocean air healed something in me I didn't know was wounded. I saved every penny. For months, I didn't think about Ryan. Or when I did, it was with a dull ache, not the sharp pain I expected. I was too busy rebuilding. Then, one rainy afternoon about 8 months after I arrived, a man walked into the cafe soaked to the bone. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and tired green eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He sat at the counter and ordered black coffee. I served him without much conversation. He came back the next day. And the next. His name was Noah. He didn't talk much at first. Just sat quietly, reading a worn paperback or staring out at the rain-streaked windows. But over time, we started talking. Small things: weather, the best hiking trails, the cafe's terrible blueberry muffins. One day, he asked if I wanted to walk the beach after my shift. I said yes before I could overthink it. We walked for hours. He told me he'd moved to town a year earlier after leaving a high-stress job in Seattle. He was vague about the details, and I didn't push. I think we both recognized the look in each other's eyes, the look of someone running from something. He never asked about my past. Not once. And slowly, carefully, I started to trust again. Noah became a constant. He'd show up to fix Aunt Claire's leaky faucet or carry groceries. He'd sit with me on the porch in the evenings, listening to the waves. He didn't try to fix me. He didn't make jokes at my expense. He just showed up. One night, after a particularly bad storm, he knocked on the door long after midnight. Drenched again. I didn't want to be alone, he admitted quietly. I let him in. We sat by the fire with tea, not saying much. At some point, he reached for my hand. "I don't know what you're carrying, Grace," he said softly. "But I want you to know you don't have to carry it alone anymore." I cried then. For the first time since the gas station. He just held me. We didn't rush anything. It was nearly a year before we kissed. Another year before he moved into the cottage with Aunt Claire's enthusiastic blessing. Life felt good. Real. Safe. I started taking online classes, graphic design. I opened a small freelance business. I laughed without checking if it was the right kind of laugh. I stopped flinching when doors slammed. 5 years passed. Aunt Claire passed away peacefully in her sleep 2 years ago. She left me the cottage. Noah and I made it our own: new paint, a garden in the back, wind chimes replaced with ones we picked out together. I was happy. Truly happy. Then one morning, I opened the front door to find Ryan standing on my porch. He looked different. Older. Thinner. His once confident posture was slumped. His eyes were bloodshot. "Emily," he said, voice cracking. I froze. How did he find me? "Grace," I corrected automatically. My voice was steady, even as my heart raced. He flinched at the name. I've been looking for you. For years. Noah appeared behind me silently, his presence solid and protective. Ryan's eyes flicked to him, then back to me. Can we talk? Ryan asked. Please. I should have slammed the door. But something in his broken expression made me step outside instead, closing the door behind me so Noah stayed inside. We stood on the porch. The ocean roared in the distance. How did you find me? I asked. He swallowed hard. Tyler posted the video. My stomach dropped. What video? The one from that day. At the gas station. He saved it all these years. Thought it was hilarious. He and Jake started some stupid YouTube channel doing pranks. Posted it last year as a classic. I felt sick. It went viral, he continued quietly. Millions of views. People were horrified. Comment after comment about how cruel it was. How dangerous. Women sharing their own stories. The backlash was insane. I crossed my arms waiting. Tyler and Jake lost their sponsors. Their channel got demonetized. People doxed them. And everyone wanted to know what happened to you. Where you were. If you were okay. He looked down at his shoes. I saw the video for the first time when it went up. I didn't even know they'd kept it. Watching you standing there, waving, calling my name while we drove away laughing. His voice broke. I couldn't believe that was me. That I'd done that to you. I didn't speak. I left them, he said. Cut them out completely. I've been in therapy. Trying to understand why I thought that was okay. Why I spent years diminishing you, letting them treat you like that. He finally met my eyes. I don't expect forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I needed you to know I'm sorry. Truly sorry. And that I'm glad you're okay. You look happy. Noah opened the door then, stepping out beside me. He didn't say anything, just rested a hand on my lower back. Ryan's eyes filled with tears as he looked between us. He's good to you? He asked quietly. Yes, I said simply. He is. Ryan nodded slowly. I'm glad. He turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth. I regret it every single day. Not just the prank. All of it. The way I made you feel small. The way I never stood up for you. The way I took you for granted until you were gone. I didn't respond. He walked down the path, got into a rental car, and drove away. I stood there long after he was gone. Noah wrapped his arms around me from behind. You okay? He whispered. I nodded. I think I am. Because the truth was, seeing Ryan broken didn't feel like victory. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like closure. A few months later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. It was from Ryan. Inside was a long apology. Pages and pages. He detailed specific moments he'd hurt me, times I'd forgotten or buried. He talked about his therapy, about learning what respect really meant. About how seeing that video had forced him to confront who he'd been. At the end, he wrote, I don't expect a response. I just needed you to know that your leaving saved me too. In the worst way possible, but it did. It woke me up. I'm trying to be better. Not for you anymore, but because you deserved better then, and the world deserves better men now. There was a check enclosed $10,000. A note with it. This is from selling the truck. The one from that day. I couldn't stand to keep it. I stared at the check for a long time. Then I endorsed it over to a local women's shelter and mailed it anonymously. Noah and I got married the following spring. Small ceremony on the beach, just close friends and the cafe regulars. I wore a simple white dress. Noah cried when he saw me walking toward him. Ryan wasn't invited. He didn't expect to be. Sometimes I wonder what he's doing now. If he's really changed. If he's found someone who challenges him to be better. But mostly, I don't think about him at all. Because I'm too busy living the life I built from the ashes of that cruel prank. The life where I'm loved fiercely and gently. Where my voice matters. Where no one ever leaves me behind. And if anyone ever asks me what happened to the woman left at the gas station all those years ago, I tell them she didn't just survive. She thrived. And there she was, walking hand in hand with the man who truly saw her worth, leaving her past in the dust, just like he'd once left her. This story reminds us that sometimes the worst moments in life become the door to our greatest freedom. She didn't just survive being abandoned. She rebuilt, she healed, and she thrived. What was your favorite part of the story? The moment she decided not to wait anymore? The quiet strength she found living under a new name? Or that final look on his face when he realized he'd lost her forever? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And while you're down there, tell me which part of the world you're watching from today. Are you in New York, California, Texas, Florida, or maybe across the ocean in the UK, Australia, Canada? I love knowing where this community is spreading. If this story moved you, gave you chills, or reminded you of your own strength, please hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs inspiration, and make sure you're subscribed to the Spoken Pen with the bell turned on. Because tomorrow's story might be the one that changes everything for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. This is the Spoken Pen, signing off.